Soundcore P30i versus P31i versus P40i. 3 earbuds from the same brand, 3 different prices, and the real question is whether stepping up actually gets you something you'll notice every day. Going cheap can leave you wishing for stronger ANC, but paying more for features you'll never touch is just wasted money. Let's break it down.
Start with ANC, because that's the headline feature on all 3. The P30i pulls up to 42 decibels of reduction, the P40i runs adaptive ANC that adjusts to your environment, and the P31i jumps to 52 decibels with real-time adaptation. On paper, that's a big spread, and in practice, it tracks. The P30i handles office hum, a coffee shop, the subtle drone of a fan. It's solid for the price, no more. Step up to the P40i and bus engines, AC units, the steady roar of a plane cabin all get noticeably tamed. The P31i goes one further, especially on low-frequency rumble. Real talk, none of these will silence a screaming toddler or a leaf blower. But for commuting, open offices, or a flight where you just want the engine noise to fade, the P31i is clearly ahead. The P40i is close behind, and the P30i is the one that starts to show its budget DNA when noise gets serious. Sound is where things get more interesting than the spec sheet suggests. The P30i runs 10mm drivers tuned for punchy bass. The P40i goes to 11mm composite drivers with bass up, and the bass hits harder, almost too hard for some tastes out of the box. There's an opinion floating around that calls the low end on the P40i overpowering on certain tracks, and that lines up with what the tuning is going for. The P31i is the different animal here. High-res certification, LDAC support, 11mm drivers with a more balanced signature. If you actually care about hearing detail in the mids, vocals that aren't drowned, treble that doesn't get harsh, it's the only one in this lineup that competes with stuff well above its price. For bass heads, the P40i wins. For anyone who listens to acoustic, vocals, podcasts, or just wants a cleaner overall sound, the P31i is the one that delivers. Battery is almost a non-issue across all 3, which is wild for this price bracket. The P30i gives you about 10 hours per charge, 45 total with the case. The P31i bumps to 10 and 50. The P40i pushes 12 and 60, plus wireless charging, which is the only model in the trio with that perk. Honestly, 60 hours is overkill for most people, but if you're the kind who forgets to charge things for a week, the P40i is the one that quietly saves you. Fast charging on the P31i is the most aggressive, 10 minutes for 3.5 hours of playback. Fit is where reviews get split, and it's worth slowing down on. All 3 use a STEM-style design. The P30i is the smallest and lightest, and a few people mention they need to reseat them while walking or eating. The P40i is similar, with some folks noting the touch sensor is too easy to trigger when adjusting. The P31i has the same general shape, but seems to sit a touch more securely, though there are scattered reports of fit issues at the gym. Bottom line, none of these are wingtip sport buds. If you have tricky ears or you're running hard, swap to a different tip size or accept that you'll be adjusting them. For sitting at a desk, walking, commuting, all 3 are comfortable for hours. On calls, the P30i runs 4 mics. The P40i and P31i both jump to 6 with AI noise reduction, and only the P31i adds dedicated wind noise handling. If you're on calls outside or in traffic, that wind algorithm actually matters, and the P31i is the safer pick. Extras separate them more than you'd expect. The P30i and P40i have the 2-in-1 case that doubles as a phone stand, which is genuinely handy for watching a show on a flight. Only the P40i adds wireless charging. The P31i drops the phone stand, but adds real-time translation in over 100 languages, which works better than the marketing language suggests if you actually travel. On price, all 3 sit in budget territory, but at different rungs. The P30i is the cheapest and goes on sale constantly. The P40i sits in the middle and tends to drop hard around major sales events. The P31i is the priciest of the 3, but holds its price more steadily, with the trade-off that you're getting high-res audio, the strongest ANC, and the translation tool baked in. Here's the call. The P31i. Stronger ANC, high-res with LDAC, the best mics for calls outside, and the translation tool is a real bonus if you travel. For me, it's the one that actually feels like an upgrade you notice every day. If your priority is bass that slaps and the longest battery in the group, the P40i is the bet, and you get wireless charging on top. If you just want decent ANC for the office and the cheapest entry point, the P30i is good enough for most people. The P40i tends to drop hard around major sales, so worth waiting for one. And you, which one would you pick? Let me know in the comments. Links are in the description.